All right, so this is a little annoying, but I just did a really good video on the majors and I totally deleted it. So I'm gonna kind of rush through this, and I kind of drew some lines already that I'm not gonna delete. So yeah, a little frustrating. I feel really dumb actually, but nonetheless, we'll do a good review and it should be a little bit quicker, I think. So this is the NASDAQ on the daily. I'm gonna lower these real quick. Okay, so what are we looking at? Look, these were the two original lines that we had for a really long time, right? This death line of 10.8, and then this, what was this magical number of 12.2. Clearly, we've now smashed it at least the last, 6 days, right? From there, we're now in the process of really reclaiming the 100 moving average. So, all a number of really positive things, right? We're what looks like is happening is kind of this like turn down, right? It's not necessarily a bad thing, but we've had an amazing 2 weeks, give or take, right? Expecting a little bit of cool down is kind of normal. And look, you can kind of see it whenever you regain these like moving averages. You tend to break it. You break the 20 here, you come back down, you hit it, and you bounce back up, right? You break the 50, you come back down, you bounce back up. I would expect us to break the 100, bounce back down, and come back up, right? So don't be too surprised if you see that, and don't fear the doom and everything like that. What we cannot have is we cannot go lower than 12.25. So from there, these two lines are new to the video, and I'm going to show you where I made them. You'll see they actually don't line up here, and they really barely line up here, right? That actually hits that wick, it hits that wick, that wick, that wick. But normally when I make the videos, it's kind of the top of the greens, right? So I'll show you where I made these. And then going a little bit more, just keep going. This 14.7 line has been there for a while. I got to do this view. This thing's been there for a while. So these are the two new ones I drew, and I will show you how. Coming to the weekly, again, the weekly still looks positive, right? Again, I have not drawn these lines just yet. I'll show you how. But with the weekly, we've broken the 10, the 8 pretty well. Looks like we've broken the 20 the last 2 weeks, right? And as well as this 1250 number, right? I don't think we'll come as low as this, 20. I hope not, at least. I would love to come around, 12.8. That would be a cool place to end next Friday, give or take. 12.8, Anything better, obviously, would be better. So the way I drew my next two lines was I actually looked at the monthly chart, okay? And you'll see as I zoom in, right, it's these two. I basically used the bottom of this guy, okay? And then I also used the top of this guy. I would prefer to use long-term monthly views than short-term weekly views, okay? So that's how we made these two lines, okay? So that real quick is the NASDAQ. Yeah, let's look at this. So MACD looks okay. Might be curving a little bit, but overall it does look okay. RSI is a little high, so you'll see it's at 75. I generally say between 80 and 30, right? So we're getting a little close to that max number, and that kind of goes back to my theory of just a little cool off before we hopefully keep bouncing back up. So not too bad. And then let's just actually see what these look like on the weekly, just to see it. Actually, they look really nice. So weekly is clearly still in the deep negative, right? On the daily, real quick, we're in actually a pretty high positive, but the weekly is not there at all. Nonetheless, though, both actually have a pretty good week. So it might be realistic to think we'll close around 12.8 but towards Friday. But hey, that doesn't necessarily mean we won't have a bad day Monday, Tuesday, and then fly the rest of the days, right? So just kind of play that in mind as we're looking between these two time frames. But weekly looks nice. Daily kind of looks like it's might want to cool down for at least another day or two. So just something to consider. Next up, we'll look at the SP5. Okay, so really, let me lower these real quick. really the daily kind of has the same story, right? So we've had about 2 weeks where really I mean, even down here, man, we've been over this 8 for a while, right? And really we're just writing it up. We're obviously breaking the 50. We're trying to break the 100 right now in the S&P, right? And again, we broke this substantially, like what day was this? On the 27th, July 27th, right? So at this point, we're basically, and this is an original line as well from one of the last videos, but we are kind of making this little bounce right here, right, between this channel right here, this 4.3 and basically 4,000, right? And roughly speaking, we're in the middle. So, you know, hopefully we start working our way up here. Again, I'm assuming it's going to be the same thing where I said with the NASDAQ, right? I think the indicators are a little on the high side on the daily. So actually, this looks like it's kind of curving as well. But let's take a look at the RSI. Yeah, RSI is actually close to 80, but that's a nice little peak off, actually. I don't know. I'll still play the number a little bit here more, and I think I'd expect a little bit. But I will say we really haven't had that substantial break of the 100 yet, right? So maybe we'll get one more big up day before it calms down. I could see that playing out, right? Like you'll see generally when you break it, you kind of want a little bit of a nice little like extra there you go. We haven't really gotten that little extra there you go on this 100 line. So, and then obviously the bad thing would be if we come down, right? Hopefully we don't go any lower than basically 4,000, right? So what's this line right here? Yeah, again, don't want to go any lower than really that 4,000 is lower, sorry, closer to 4,1 than 4,000 is what we want. 4,100 better than 4,000. So on the weekly, okay, so the weekly definitely, let me lower these and just kind of zoom in on where we're at. So the weekly is sitting on 2 moving averages, okay? Breaking 1 moving average is generally very difficult. Breaking 2 is even harder, right? So it looks like the 20's been broken and we're kind of playing with the 100. Rarely do you see the same moving average on the daily and the weekly. I don't actually know if that means anything, but generally they don't line up like that. So that's a little interesting, actually. I really don't know if it means anything, but nonetheless. And again, look, same thing on the daily, right? Like the channel is pretty much right in the middle. So hopefully we work our way up closer to 4,200. I'd be okay if we drop to 4,100-ish. Definitely don't want to get too low towards that 4,000. So, and then winding it down is the DJ30. Oh man, look at that. Pretty much an identical chart to the S&P, right? Again, sitting on that 100. Hopefully we get a nice little burst, maybe even to this line right here, right? Hopefully we don't go down too much. I would say that's probably the lowest we'd want to go, 32.5. I wouldn't want to go much lower than 32.5. But yeah, hopefully we come up towards this 33 number, basically, right? And then where's the 2 from there? And then again, look, there's plenty of room. If we can break this 100, we'd obviously make our way up to the 200, right? And that's a pretty nice gap right there. So what's this RSI at? That's a good MACD. Again, a little more curved than ideal. But what's the RSI at? Again, so they're all pretty much at that 75 number, right? So I could see on the daily we take maybe a couple days to just cool down. On the weekly, they're all actually around that 50 number, right? This one's 49. I think the last 2 were around the 50 number, right? So, yeah, interesting to look at. So the last thing I do want to end on is just keeping in mind where we're sitting, right? So I'm going to zoom out a little bit and I'm going to make the overall trend lines, right? So we're still in this downtrend, right? We're pretty close to actually getting to the major downtrend line on the Dow. So that'll be interesting to see if that actually happens in the next couple of weeks. But still in the downtrend, but looks like we're getting a little bit closer on the Dow. I don't believe the other 2 are as close, if I remember correctly. So, sorry about that. There we go. Take it from here, basically to there. Yeah, it looks like there's still a little bit more gap. It looks like the Dow was a little bit closer to hitting the wall. But that's not too far off, in all honesty, right? And then lastly is the NASDAQ, COMP, NASDAQ composite. Again, here you can kind of see it, right? I'll basically take it from there. Oh man, this one is actually pretty close. So, not too bad. This one is a little closer. It looks like they're coming up to these pretty important downtrends. So, we'll see what happens when they hit those lines. This one, I think I can zoom out a little bit more. No, yeah, I mean that's the downtrend. Interesting. I didn't think it was as close. So, it actually looks like both the Dow and the NASDAQ aren't too far from the actual breaking of the downtrend potentially. S&P looked like it was a little further away, but overall, not too bad. We'll see what happens when we hit these lines, right? Either we hit it and go down just like we did right here, or we actually break it and then just fly, right? Hopefully break that 200 as well and then just get back to these original lines when I made this. I was typing when I made these lines actually, so... nonetheless, I hope you're learning well. If you haven't already, subscribe to the YouTube channel. I think that's the fastest way to get notifications of all the videos. Otherwise, you can check out the website, chartreaders.com. You can also go to thechartreaders.com. And there I do have all the videos categorized. You can sign up for an email, a little bit more interactions there. So, hey, I hope you're learning. This is obviously not financial advice. This is just hopefully helping you learn.